Welcome back to the ongoing coverage and analysis of Dune Awakening. In this episode, we're getting into the armor sets that we've seen from the game so far. Let's start off with the big three here, the main trio that we saw in the first trailers for the game, and an armor set that I'm calling the Harkonnen Trooper. Now, I don't have any real confirmations for names of any of these armors, so just go with it and know that these are placeholder names. But the Harkonnen Trooper is probably one of, if not the most featured armor set that we've seen thus far from trailers and screenshots. Take note of the belt style there, as that's one of the main indicators for this armor set. We've seen the Hark Trooper in a few different scenarios, but he always seems to pop up in full armor with no switched out pieces. We can see this helmet, chest piece, and leg piece set consistently through most, if not all, of his appearances, using that belt as a signifier. The appearance of this black padded leather and this Geiger-esque xenomorph style helmet with fist guards and metal clasps. Very Harkonnen-esque. We do see a slight bit of color to this armor set in the armpits and the knee areas that looks a bit blood red, and in this shot we see a bit more of the armor dyeing and coloring potential. We will talk more about that later in the video. We can clearly see the Harkonnen House symbol on the leg piece here, so it's safe to say that this is a faction-based armor set. And though we haven't seen much of the man on the left side, we did get a nicer look at the big guy on the right there in recent screenshots. Take note again of the belt buckle and the gold trim on the shoulders and chest pieces there. Also, note the sort of spider eye style helmet. This is what I refer to as the Harkonnen Heavy. You can again see the gold trim on the shoulders and chest there, as well as the Harkonnen sigil on the belt buckle. Shout out to the Batman style arm guards there. Moving on to this mysterious character, someone we have again seen a lot of but received little info for. This is a set I'm calling the Maruader for now, which I just realized I spelled wrong, but I believe we've seen this set in places we didn't initially recognize. For instance, here they are taking a hunter-seeker to the face. Now, speculative of course, but notice the bald head and the goggles and turned-up collar there. Also the knee-length trench coat. Here we see the Marauder working on a sand bike. Note again the goggles and bald head. Here take note of the turned-up collar, and here the brown leather trench coat. This armor set seems to also have stillsuit capabilities with the tubes running all over it. We do know you can't wear armor and stillsuits at the same time, but possibly there are some options that satisfy a little bit of both. Moving on to a set that I'm calling the Wanderer, just because in the trailers the character seems to have this piecemealed cape on, signified by the multi-layered black and green. You can also see the binoculars there. They seem to be wearing a stillsuit beneath that, so this might just be a cloak option that you can add on top of your base stillsuit or armor. And walking through an eco lab, we can see that with this character to the right, they are also just wearing cloaks apparently that aren't really tied to the armor set, but rather a piece that you could mix and match with and might even provide some buffs and benefits in the desert. Also, there's our buddy the Marauder again. Quick, Joel. People don't believe me when I talk about the invisible cloak. They call me crazy and, quote, too pushy with my opinions. But I'm here with evidence this time. The invisible man is real. I'm not sure what the benefit or function of this cloak is, but in a couple places we can clearly see this piece showcased with translucent properties. Whether this cloak will help to shroud you from enemy scanners or it's just really cool to watch wave in the wind, there's proof here that we have a semi-transparent wearable in the game. Look at him go. Take note of the green color in the pants and the smooth slab style build pieces. The helmet throws me off, but everything else indicates that we are in Atreides territory here. We've seen clear images of the Atreides gang descending down, so let's take a look. Again, these are placeholder names. I have no proof that these are class-based armors, but I'm calling these the Atreides Troopers. We've seen them standing at attention in what is potentially a faction outpost, though we haven't seen much outside of that. These, however, show up in a few spots, and I'm calling them the Atreides Scouts. Here's one with the same garb and metal-shouldered cloak in the outpost. Some pretty clear signifiers here being the green cape with the giant Atreides hawk on it. I don't think we can mistake that. Also, the metal shoulder pieces are a dead giveaway, and we see those in a few places here walking towards a large shipwreck. But what's interesting is we have also seen the green cloak without the hawk and the shoulder plates on it, suggesting perhaps some sort of prestige system, or maybe even upgradable faction armors. Don't quote me on that just yet. It could just, of course, be customization options. And look, there's our buddy, the Marauder again. Let's talk a little bit about the different stillsuits that we've seen in the game. Here's the same character from the Eco Lab with the Wanderer, clearly wearing a stillsuit underneath their cloak, and it even has some blue armor dye on the elbows. We see here another type of stillsuit with a few mix and match cloak options. This maybe looks like a low-level stillsuit as suggested by these concept drawings. But you will eventually work your way up to Spice Messiah and get to rock this tight stillsuit seen here with some pretty sick abs for filtration purposes, I'm assuming. Quick note about this Harkonnen cloak, we don't see it anywhere else, but I'm thinking it's the same Hark Trooper we saw before, but wearing a different clothing set and no helmet. Let's talk about the Star hoodie over here. Seems to be clearly rocking Atreides armor hanging out in the Atreides base, but I'm calling him the Sand Scout, just deal with it. We've also seen this setup in quite a few places with different pieces switched out, but the 5-strap hood and the chest straps and the belt will be our indicators here. Here with a different face mask looking pretty Fremenese to me, honestly, but then we see the same belt and chest straps in a couple different locations. You can clearly see the 5 hood straps and that wide belt here, giving a pretty good indication that this is the same character, at least for the base armor. And look, there's the Atreides Scout. Here's the same belt, but with a 3-strapped hood. Maybe the straps are like Boy Scout badges and you earn more as you progress, who knows. This all might be changed and improved from the alpha build, so maybe it's all the same hood, just a later version of it. And there's that tan wide belt again. And oh, there's the Harkonnen Trooper again. Those are the big 3 from the initial trailer. Let's talk about armor dyeing a little bit. We see in a couple different spots the potential for armor dyeing, or what could be just colored armors based on the factions you've sided with. Here with the main character stillsuit, you can clearly see splashes of blue all over it. We also see this snapshot of a Harko female wearing a blue cape. Now, I want to note 2 things here. First off, I heavily believe that we will get the option to wear our cloaks with the hood up or down as seen here. The same blue cloak with the hood up. And also notice the lining on the back bears a striking resemblance to the main character's stillsuit. So potentially one is unaffiliated. When you join a faction, it just becomes a colored cloak. Oh, and look, there's the Harkonnen Trooper again. Boy, that guy gets around. Other snapshots of different colors like this red flare on this stillsuit reinforce the idea that this might be faction related, meaning you may or may not have the option to color the armor yourself, but rather it's a way to indicate what team you're playing on for others to recognize. Here we see clear swatches of blue like from the previous screens. This particular set might even be an armor that we've seen before, but I haven't found any connections, though these 2 different clips seem to be showing the same character based on this armor shoulder molding here. There are some armors shown that can't be connected to anything at this time. Here's apparently some Harkos looking dangerous. There's our Dark Sardaukar in the back wearing what might be a Harkonnen stillsuit. This means there's potentially dozens of different armor pieces we can expect. Just in this video we've seen nearly 20 pieces. And I don't know who these 2 are, but I for one am digging Sergeant Shiny Shoulders over here. Definitely keeping an eye out for that one. But that's it for the armors. We dive into the vehicles in the next episode. Keep it locked right here at NZMPLAYS and make sure to like and subscribe for the latest goods on this and more. Till then, peace.